and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of What the Health Just Happened, where we talk about all things healthcare, the good, the bad, the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, and everything in between. We also bring on business owners, business leaders, community advocates, nonprofits to talk about all things healthy versus unhealthy in life and business. And today is no different. We have one of a few second-time guests, CEO of Leadership Jacksonville. Love what's going on there. I got to read this real quick. We're going to keep this intro brief. Oh, wait, I just keep going on and stop going on and on and on. Just do the intro.
Yeah, well, I don't even know what intro you have.
So, CEO of Leadership Jax, who pulled this from LinkedIn, love LinkedIn.
Oh, gosh, that's so old.
I love it. Inspires people and partners to make a difference within their communities. I like that.
Yeah, it's still true.
Okay, one of the original guests of What the Hell Just Happened. Welcome back, Gracie. Can I do it?
Yes.
Simmendinger!
Yeah!
I love your last name.
Thank you.
I love that last name. It's fun. Every time I say it and people have listened to the show, it's like, I'm having a previous guest on, Gracie, and they said, Simmendinger! So
I love that it's catching on. I'm here for it.
I think that's a hashtag Simmendinger. Is that a hashtag? How do hashtags work?
I don't hashtag, but it would really just be my last name plus,
Are you a
sign.
social media person or no?
Not really. I do have, I'm predominantly on LinkedIn because I find that the most valuable, but I also have a Facebook because I'm the secondary to the Leadership Jacksonville account, but I don't spend a lot of time on social media. I like being with people.
Do you have TikTok?
No.
I don't either.
But sometimes people send me videos, and what I like about TikTok is you don't have to have an account in order to watch the weird videos that people send to you.
Agreed.
There's not like that block that you get from some other sites like Instagram. I can't look at Instagram things.
We'll get to leadership stuff in a minute. What about Cameo?
Oh, well, I have received and purchased a couple of Cameos in my time.
We'll get to that too. We talked before the show and after the show, and we had a nice Cameo conversation. You got a great one.
And a video.
Big E?
Big E, yeah.
WWE wrestler.
Yes.
Again,
he's amazing.
That came out. Okay.
Shout out to Big E.
We're going to cover Leadership Jacksonville a lot, right?
Okay.
Got some, well, maybe not a lot. I think we're going to get off the rails a little bit.
Sure.
That's kind of what we do with guests like yourself who enjoy having a good time and, life in general. Okay.
Absolutely.
JU, undergrad.
Graduate. So FSU undergrad.
Oh, that's right. You were a Knoll.
JU grad.
Go Knowles.
And I did, go Knowles. And then I did also take some classes at UNF.
Okay, so you had classes at UNF. We're big UNF
Swoop.
guys. We say swoop all the time. But
I don't say swoop, but okay.
UNF JU this Friday at 7 p.m., by the way.
I thought it was next week.
This Friday at UNF. Again, already off the rails. I'll be there. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, River City Rumble, they call it.
That's it. You got it. Speaking of the River City, Leadership Jacksonville.
Yes.
CEO. That's a big title.
I know.
That's like the boss.
I know. It feels like a big title sometimes.
What is it? Who's it for? Who should be interested?
Those are a lot of questions.
I'll start that. What is it?
Sure. So Leadership Jacksonville is a nonprofit that's been around almost 50 years, and our mission is to educate, connect, and inspire diverse leaders to build and strengthen their communities. A lot of buzzwords, but essentially we provide right now 4 different programs to engage high schoolers, young professionals, executives, and I would say business leader or influencers within companies to get excited and fired up about the city, what areas of opportunity we have to make the city better and ways that they can give back and get plugged in.
You nailed that. Some people are like, oh, what is it? You have that memorized. I actually wrote that down.
Oh, yeah.
2 things. Leadership Jacksonville educates, connects, and inspires diverse leaders to build and strengthen their communities.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I'm saying you nailed it.
Thank you.
I wrote that down. I'm like, I can't remember that. And then programs, too, we'll get to here. Really cool program. 50 plus years, you said?
Almost 50. We'll be 50 years in. So we were started in 1976. So 2026 will be our 50th
Community
anniversary.
leaders, again, advocates, the same thing that, honestly, the perfect guest on the show. But can you name some people that have gone through the program that'll be recognized in Northeast Florida, or is that off limits?
Yeah. I mean, we have over 2,400 just in the flagship program alone, which is what we're most known for. But we also have 3 other programs. So I mentioned to you before, Eric, that people hear Leadership Jacksonville, they think of the one program, but we also cover so many other bases. So, Darnell Smith, who was just appointed.
Never heard of him. I'm kidding. Everybody, that's like the pseudo mayor of Jacksonville, I think.
Who is now the chief of staff for the mayor of Jacksonville.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's huge. I mean, Darnell is an alum, Audrey Moran. A lot of people look up to her. She's a mentor to many individuals in the community. John Payton, John Delaney.
Never heard of him. I'm kidding. I've heard of all these people, by the way. I should
Jacoby
mention
Pittman, who's a city council member. We have Kelly Coker-Daniel, who's previous school board. Daryl Willey, who's the current school board member. I'm mentioning some politicians, but there's people that aren't actually in public office that are also affiliated with the organization. I'm just trying to think of some
No. That's you fired some off. Like, this is predominantly Northeast Florida. We try to bring on businesses here and talk about healthcare, but those are not small names. Leadership Jacksonville, like, it's an honor. It's exciting if you get into the program and go through it, and I think it would change most people's lives, right? All four of the flagship programs.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the full year-long flagship program, by far, because we spend the most amount of time with those individuals, is the most impactful. It's also kind of in the formative years of when people are really getting fired up and connected with what they're passionate about. And so we see an intense acceleration into them running towards something that they really want to be a part of and to make a difference in. So, we mentioned some other names. We'll be honoring a few other folks in April. Eric Mann, who is an incredible leader. He's at the YMCA, but he's also the chairman of the Jacksonville Civic Council and the chairman of Brooks Rehabilitation. We also have Debbie Buckland, who's an incredible community leader. She's also a retired business executive. And then Dr. Wade Barnes, who's a longtime pediatrician in town that's done a lot in.
When's that event?
It's April 23rd.
Is that open to the public or just?
It is open to the public. Yes.
WJCT
Studios. Yeah, absolutely. So every spring we host an event. It's not only a community celebration honoring some local leaders, but it's also a way for us to fundraise to support our Youth Leadership Jacksonville program. Because those individuals pay a fraction of the cost of what the full year-long program entails for high school sophomores. So that event is open to the public and a great way to just be a part of positivity and positive news and around really positive people, and also get a chance to see the next generation of leaders that are affiliated and have a connection with our city.
I love that you said positivity, right? It's all negative news. But no, there's a lot of really, really cool stuff going on in Jacksonville, I think, right? Leadership Jacks is one specifically. So that event is April, say it again?
23rd. At
What time?
WJCT Studios from 5 to 8 p.m.
5 to 8. It's not the same studio we're in, by the way, but that's okay. I'm kidding. It doesn't matter. Okay, so that's a little bit what it's about, what's coming up. Application.
Yeah.
Who's it for? Who should be interested in this stuff? Want to change your life?
Yeah. So we actually have two applications that are open right now. One is the flagship program that we've talked a lot about already. So that is for leaders that are interested in taking their community involvement and leadership to the next level. We've talked about also some potential myths associated with Leadership Jacksonville application process.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yep. What's the application period? Then we'll go into myths.
Period's open right now. The deadline to complete the application is January 29th. And it ranges usually, I would say the average age of individuals to participate is around 45. However, the beauty of Leadership Jacksonville program is you're connected with about 55 other people, and it's a variety of not only industry, age, background, ethnicity. It's really an entire melting pot full of different people. So anyone should apply if they have an interest in getting more involved in the community.
If you hear this prior to January 29th and you're interested, apply.
Yes.
Right? Of 2024,
Why
we should
not?
say, which is weird. If you hear it after, we'll go into the details of Leadership Jacks. The program, is this a nationwide thing for different cities? Because when you were a guest early on, you were the third guest ever, by the way. I'm excited you're back now that it's
Me too.
somewhat
I kind of
real.
know what I'm talking about now.
Someone commented, like, I went through Leadership Philadelphia 30 years ago? Is this like a nationwide program?
So we're not, we all are affiliated with, or can be affiliated with, a membership organization that focuses on leadership organizations, but we're not a part of a mothership group. So we're all independently owned, operated. Board led. However, we reach out to, our team reaches out to other leadership programs across the country to learn what they're doing and how that can be of benefit to us. So we're not affiliated with Philadelphia, but if they were doing something really cool, I would reach out to their CEO or their team and say, hey, you got this program going on. Would you welcome, a time to set up some time for us to chat about it?
Okay. So let's hit myths, because we talked. I love the pre-call beforehand to get some bullet points, then we go off the rails. We're going off the rails.
I know.
By the way.
I'm excited.
Myths you mentioned. People ask you stuff, or someone says something, you're like, that's not true at all.
Yeah, I hear a lot of myths. I think one of the main things, and again, nominations are already closed for the program, but oftentimes I hear, alumni can only nominate someone to be a part of the program. And when the nomination period is open in the fall, anyone can nominate anyone to learn or be reached out to regarding when the application is actually open.
All right, I'm going to pause here.
Yes.
This is just to reemphasize this. So if I want to nominate Trey, who's sitting over here not on camera, that's anyone can nominate Trey.
Yes.
Or Justin.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be a graduate of the program.
Yes.
Okay. And then that closed already. And then now it's self-nominations, would you call it?
So there is
applications
applications is open. So if you nominated Trey back in November timeframe or when that's open, he would get an email from us when application will be like, hey, you got a nomination from Eric. It's application's now open. If you're interested, here's the timeline, here's all the information. You do not need a nomination, however, to apply directly. So even if nobody said, hey, you're great, you can
no one's saying that about Trey, by the way. Me and Trey aren't getting that comment.
You know yourself, you're great, and you're interested. You can just direct apply. I mean, of course, having a nomination provides additional information to the volunteer selection committee, but it does not make or break anything.
Here, before we go into more myths, I can't. I'm already got ridiculous questions. How many applicants you think percentage-wise submit are like, I'm awesome, here's why?
Everyone?
Like what percentage are considerable applicants? This is hard to ask.
No,
I can juggle. I can juggle and do magic tricks and make a wave with my stomach. I want to nominate myself.
Tell me how it benefits the community, Eric. I'm not going to say that you're not a talented individual. I would say every person that applies for a program brings some skill set to the organization and to the community.
But it's about how it benefits the community.
It's about how it benefits the community. We're really looking for people that already have leadership experience under their belt, whether they're serving on a board, have already chaired certain committees, very involved, not only in their business life, but also civically, community-based work. So it is very competitive. So it's a tough decision.
How many applicants a year, you think?
Last year we had around 170 applicants.
And how many get in the flagship program?
About 55. 50%. It's tough.
Yeah, that's hard. Trey, you had something to add?
One of those 50% that get accepted, what's the age range?
It's anywhere from 30 to 68, maybe.
Okay.
It varies per.
We'll talk about it. There's a younger program I love for high school sophomores. Next generation.
Yep.
All this stuff here too. Okay.
Yeah,
Other myths.
Other myths. We already sort of talked about age a little bit, but I also hear, I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that. In my opinion, you are never too old to learn and grow and meet people that are different than you. So I encourage people, even if you're, think you're more seasoned than
experienced. I like that word.
Yeah,
not
experience. Not at all. There's so much value that comes to the program when we bring in people across generations. That's what the community is made up of, right? It's not a whole bunch of 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. It's people that are across all walks of life that come together and tackle and discuss really complex challenges.
Let's see here. Let's hit organizational programs. I got 4 programs here: Leadership Jacks, Youth Program, C-suite executive program, and
Next
I can't even read
generation.
my own handwriting.
That's okay.
Go ahead. Let her
Yeah.
rip.
So the other application that's now open currently is our Youth Leadership Jacksonville program. This is a direct connection we have with the schools. And so participating high schools select a school liaison who nominates high school freshmen to apply for our program, and those selected participate in a year-long program similar to the adult program, but this is specifically for high school sophomores.
I think that's all. Did you have that growing up?
No, I mean, I did a
Something,
program
but-
where I went to D.C. and was like a U.S. Senate page, but that was more
That's
like,
cool.
yeah, but to be honest with you, most kids just aren't open to that kind of stuff. So if you're actually
Well, it's
willing
a
to go do it, I think it's a huge plus, right?
Yeah, it is.
What schools in Jacksonville? All of them? Whoever wants to participate, or like you have a list of schools?
Yeah, so we have schools in Baker, Clay, Nassau, Duval, Clay, Duval, Nassau, and St. John's. We have about 25 different schools that opt in because the principal has to provide an excuse absence for those kids to be able to hang out with us one Thursday a month. They basically
When she says hang out, she means like change your life for the rest of your life. Let's call it what it is.
pull them out of school to do, experiential learning. So, those teachers allow them to make up that coursework, right? But, actually tomorrow we have Brothers, Sisters, Keepers Day, which is kind of like a health day for our youth program. And we're going to give them a tour of Brooks Rehabilitation, which is an incredible facility, but show them that how people are different and, the recovery process.
The real world?
Yes.
I call it, yeah. And not just this. This is great, but here's the real world.
Yeah.
Man, I kind of want to talk about the high school one, but we got to bounce
I was going to
on
say,
it.
I would honestly advocate for more kids doing that kind of stuff.
How many go through each class?
This
like
year we
55
have-
adults for the flagship program.
It's based on the size of a bus. So this,
Okay.
Oh,
so
that
around
makes sense.
50. Yeah. So this year, the students, we have 52 in the class.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's great.
That's 52 future leaders, advocates for whatever community they land in, learning about, again, the real world. That's pretty awesome.
And I think what's also amazing about the program is, approximately 20 different high schools are represented in the class. And so I don't know about you, but when I was in school, the only time I really got to know people outside of my high school was playing sports
Yep.
and, playing travel ball, things of that nature. That's when
What kind of ball?
I played softball competitively.
Travel baller. Did you like
Travel ball.
Jeez, I got to write this.
Yeah.
The second half, we're going to talk about that.
Okay, we can. And so there's no other opportunity where you really get to connect with all of these different people that are your age that, are in the same grade as you, but live on all different sides of town or, private schools connected with charter schools to public schools where you're all together, learning and growing. It's pretty amazing.
Okay. Man, so much to cover in such a short
I
window.
know.
Couple events coming up I wrote down. The alumni luncheon in the fall. This is alumni only.
Yes.
But it's kind of it's a big event.
Yeah, we just honored this past November Dr. Janetta B. Cole, who's an incredible woman. She's from Jacksonville. Her family has a long history in Jacksonville. She is just
Special.
yeah.
There's a lot of shout outs already. A lot of names. Hi,
I
Mom,
know.
by the way.
I
Every
hate-
episode, I love you, Mom. Hi.
Yeah. Hey, Mom. I don't think you're listening, but I love you.
She might.
You never know.
You never know.
I'll send it to her. She'll listen if I send it
She
to her.
would say, I gave you a shout out, Mom.
Yeah.
That'll make her listen. I'm interested. I asked you this, I know this, but how is it funded, right? How do you raise money and run a business? You're a CEO now. You
I
got to know. You
know.
got to
It's my
hire and fire
responsibility.
people and watch the P&L.
We are hiring for an office manager right now. If
Office
anyone knows
manager, you hear that?
of
Spread the word.
anybody. Yeah. No, it's a great question. I have been in fundraising my entire nonprofit career. And so what I sort of appreciate about working for Leadership Jacksonville is the majority of our budget comes from tuition. So fees for service, that's individuals that sign up for our programs and their employer or company or they self-pay. But that's where the majority of our revenue comes from. And then we have a special event, some corporate sponsors, and individuals support our mission too.
Do you do any scholarships for the younger kids by chance?
Absolutely. So for the high school program, the cost for them to participate in the full year long program is only $250, but there are scholarships available for that, and some schools will subsidize that for the kids to participate. But that's where the money from Celebration, the spring event I was talking about, that's where the bulk of that money is really to ensure we keep those costs down for those high schoolers so they have a chance to experience it.
The answer could be no. Can you share the tuition for an adult? So the flagship program, like, hey, I want to do this and I'm all in, and then they get a price tag and think, oh, crap. I don't know.
Yes, it is high. Absolutely. It's something that we talk about. It's $4,900. So it's $5,000, a little less than $5,000.
That's not expensive. I don't think. Like,
well, it's higher than when I started, and I really think about lowering barriers to entry.
Yeah.
There's 2 overnight retreats. It is, a full year long worth of programming, and I'll tell you the relationship building. And I don't even call it networking, but the relationship building is invaluable. It's unbelievable the stories I hear and the impact that it makes.
That's how I would express anyone that's considering joining or participating. And you hear that price tag, and maybe your stomach knots, but I promise, and I haven't been through the program, if you don't get $5,000 return on that investment, that might be on you, right? Is that fair to say or no?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities, I think, to capitalize on the experience. And I think there are some people that perhaps go into it with a business mindset as far as like, oh, I'm going to get a certain number of clients for this, from this. And while that's great, people do business with one another. What they also find is they now have lifelong friends.
Relationships.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
gosh.
You know how key those relationships are, because you have a great relationship. Those individuals
Real
help open
relationships,
doors for you. It's not just, you and I. It's, oh, Eric, who do you need to be connected with? I'll help make that introduction.
Okay, we'll ask one more very specific Leadership Jacks question before the second half, where we're going to probably goof off a little bit.
Okay.
Like to goof off.
Sounds good.
I have never heard this question. You talked about it on the prep call we had. I love it. You don't have to answer it now, but I like this question. You can.
I was going to ask you it.
If you had to give a 5-minute elevator pitch and you were a subject expert matter, what would you give the pitch on?
Are you asking me?
Well, let's start with you. You don't have to answer that.
Just pointed at him.
Well, I point at everybody. I'm a hands talker. This is why the cameras are great, because I just do all this.
Yeah, no, I did ask you this question. So for me, since I kind of grew my career in the nonprofit world and fundraising, I can really do a deep dive into the best way to raise money for an organization. So that would be mine. I know it's not sexy and not very fun, but everyone needs money to survive. Business needs money to survive. That's how you further a mission.
I love that comment.
And so I really feel strongly that I'm able to help kind of drill down the best key strategies in order to drive a business forward.
We try and get on, ideally, like it's one nonprofit a month, but is it too much? But local nonprofits, put a spotlight on it. What are you doing? How are you helping the community? So that's great information, because a lot of people that want to start a nonprofit, you got to pay the bills.
You have to.
You got to keep the lights on.
And that unrestricted funding is critical, because I think it's nice to buy this specific thing for this person, but if the organization doesn't exist, they can't serve that individual or that family. So just building trust with an organization and knowing if I'm supporting this organization and I give them an unrestricted gift or general gift, I know they're going to use it to what they need to do to the best of their ability.
All right, Trey, you got about 30 seconds. What could you nail in 5 minutes?
I'd teach people how to use cameras.
Cool. I would love to take that class.
Because I'm self-taught, so I'd say avoid all this. And
Justin, you got anything you want to chime in on?
I guess really the way radio operates, because it's like what
I'd love to learn that too. See how interesting that is?
But no one realizes, like, you can educate people and make a living talking about this specific topic, because there are thousands of people that are interested in that and every single nonprofit. Yeah. Mine.
You didn't answer yours.
Well, we're going to hit that on the back half, because I've already thought about it. I think we're going to talk about therapy at one point, and that's part of I have a couple 5-minute conversations that I don't want to say I nail, but I'm comfortable doing constantly, and one of them has to do with therapy, life, and just appreciating life.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
How much time we got left here? About 60 seconds? Less than a minute. Doesn't matter. First half was awesome with Gracie.
So awesome.
Simendinger. Say it, Trey. I know you want to say it.
Simendinger.
I love saying it.
You did it. Actually, here's what's funny. Ask Eric to spell it.
Simendinger. Simendinger.
Nailed it.
Oh, let's go.
We're fist bumping that. Gracie Simendinger, CEO of Leadership Jacks. That's what the health just happened. All right, here we go. Wah, wah. Welcome back to the second half of What the Health Just Happened, where we talk about all things healthcare, yada, 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 yada. You don't care about the intro. If you missed the first half, you can catch it on your favorite podcast. They're on all of them. We have Gracie Simendinger, the CEO of Leadership Jacks. Gracie, how do you say it, Trey?
Oh, man, I don't want to.
Simendinger! I'll do it. I love saying it. You have the most.
Simendinger!
The fact that she does it is my favorite. Gracie Simendinger, CEO of Leadership Jacks. Again, the first half, very heavy on the Leadership Jacks program. You got some really cool stuff going on. Still time to apply till the end of the month. It depends when you hear this, though, because technically it's January something 2024. Second half, we're gonna go off the rails a little bit.
Let's do it.
Not too bad. And the good news is we can always edit stuff out, but I don't like to do edits.
Okay.
Healthy or not healthy? I'm asking the same one. Brunch.
We've talked about this.
But if they haven't heard it, answer it.
Oh, okay. Healthy, absolutely.
Booze or no booze?
I personally don't drink booze at brunch, but if people want to, I'm not here to judge. So,
Then so be it.
healthy.
Okay. Agreed.
Especially Bloody Mary, because you get your vegetables.
That's right. Bacon and celery. Okay. Healthy or not? I don't know why I wrote this down. Healthy or not healthy, Sandra Bullock.
Healthy? Why wouldn't she be?
She's
Not
59, right? Is that what I wrote down?
And she looks amazing. Oh my
like
gosh.
30. We talked about this earlier.
Because of the movie that I told you about.
What was the movie?
Oh gosh.
That's all right. Healthy or not healthy,
It's on
Tom
Amazon Prime.
Cruise.
He's a weird dude.
I'm going unhealthy, man.
I think he's
he sold
not
his
healthy.
soul to the devil.
Yeah, there's some
Please don't sue us, Tom Cruise.
weird
You'll never hear
things
this,
happening there. I'm not entirely sure.
Healthy or unhealthy? Controlling bosses.
Not healthy.
What about within reason?
Would you call it control if it's within reason?
Like I'll give
You
Adrian
said
a shout out.
controlling bosses. That sounds like
Sorry, controlling leader. I guess there's no way to. All of these there's no right or wrong answer.
No.
You said you're like a semi-control freak.
I am, but I wouldn't call myself a controlling boss.
I don't mean that. You're right. That came across negative. I don't mean that at all. Like Adrian Jansen, our CEO, she is smart, charismatic. She keeps the bottle on my top. If it wasn't for her being controlling in the best way possible, like I would say healthy.
Would you say she's directive over controlling?
Oh, that's a better word. Controlling has like this
Controlling
negative
feels like
connotation. Okay, bad term. So healthy or not healthy, the term controlling.
depends. Are you controlling like a motor vehicle or a person?
Are you controlling your vehicle? These are the perfect answers. You got a couple?
I do.
Let's hear it.
Healthy
she's
or
laughing.
not healthy? Working out barefoot,
Healthy. I love working out barefoot.
inside or outside?
Both.
In a public gym?
Ooh, yeah.
Not
No,
healthy.
no, no.
Yeah, not healthy.
No. Or asphalt. And even like some asphalt. Again, different question here. Working out barefoot is healthy. In a public gym, I'm going unhealthy. Did you see someone do it?
I do see people do it.
That's like a new thing, barefoot training. Do you know about this? Yeah, there's like this huge.
It's better for your calves and stuff.
Why
isn't
don't
it,
you
to
just
do
wear
things?
socks? Fine, take your shoes off, but what's the difference
love this.
between
You might slip more in socks.
get grippy socks, like they wear in Pure Bar or whatever?
Also, my feet are just
What a liability for the gym.
Okay, that's
so
a good
gross.
one.
You
That's
get
good
like
one.
a foot fungus,
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Unhealthy public gym barefoot workouts
Yeah.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really have a thing against that.
This is good.
Yeah.
We're going off the rails on
Okay,
this one.
healthy, not healthy. Diet Coke.
It's awful for you.
My immediate answer is unhealthy.
It is awful for you. But would you say Diet Coke is healthier than, drinking? If you're
Like booze or a Coke?
I think it's
Coke?
more addictive.
Booze.
Oh, no, that's
booze
a-
and or Coke.
That's so. I'd love to answer that, but you need like scientific research to prove it. It's like anything in moderation. It's not unhealthy. It's probably healthier than if you're drinking six. Here's a great question: if you drink 6 Diet Cokes a day or 6 beers a day, what's
You know
more
who
healthy?
drinks 6 Diet Cokes a day?
John Daly, Donald Trump. Who's the best investor of all time?
Warren Buffett,
Warren Buffett,
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Really?
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Maybe
Oh,
we need
yeah.
to drink Diet Coke.
I don't care. Sorry.
Yeah,
These are
well,
good
I'm
questions.
glad you know. I was a test and
Yeah.
you passed.
What else you got?
Yeah. Amazon Prime.
I'm going unhealthy, man. Only because this is great. I love questions. The amount of boxes that I walk into in my garage that I've ordered 3 things on Prime my entire life. But I walk in my garage and there's boxes, and I love you, babe. You'll never hear this.
Ordered 3. Oh.
3. I've only ordered 3 things on Amazon Prime.
And your wife orders a lot on Amazon Prime.
Everything.
Everything.
Which is healthy. Like all reoccurring stuff. That's tough. What do you got? That's a hard
so
one.
healthy.
Amazon Prime?
Yeah, I actually make money off of. So I got an associates program. You get a part of it, and if like my wife wants to buy something, I just send her a link, and I get a percentage of the sale.
What?
So people,
What? How
more
do you
people
do
should.
that?
Yeah, sign us up.
You have to have like a little bit of a following, but yeah, you can start dispersing.
How do
it
I
to
get
your
a
friends.
following though?
You probably
This
have
show
one.
right here.
Leadership
There's like
Jack.
8 million
let's go
people
here.
listening to this. Tom Cruise is going to sue us.
Well, they did away with Amazon Smile, which was a
for
mechanism for
nonprofits.
nonprofits to recoup some of the money.
man.
Yeah, so you could have
Which it's about to be tax season, so it's a good time to give to your group, right?
There you go.
501c3.
Yeah.
Sign up. Give the
Anytime.
money to Leadership
We're here.
Jacks.
We ain't
Call
going
Gracie
nowhere.
Simendiga. You got any
binge
more?
watch. Yeah, binge watching shows or rewatching the same show.
I'm going to throw a bet. If you missed the first time you were on the show, we talked about Ted Lasso a lot. Mm-hmm. Like everything when people ask, I'm going healthy in moderation.
Is binge watching in moderation, or you mean
here-
if you do it one weekend and then don't do it?
What's binge watching? Is it 3 episodes? Is it 10? Is it how many hours? Like to me, if it
maybe how sometimes that window pops up and it says, "Are you still watching this?" Because if not, we're gonna shut off. Like if you say, "Yes, I'm still watching it," then that's
okay.
probably considered
That is
binge
a
watching.
Great. That is gold.
We're concerned you are.
That is
not
binge watching.
alive.
So in that case, I'm going to go with unhealthy because I've never gotten there. The only time I get that
You've never gotten there.
is I fall asleep. I wake up and the TV's off or the show's off.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
fall asleep on the couch all the time.
Me too.
But I think if that's your outlet, right? Certain people have certain outlets. Why not? That's healthy. No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm culpable of it. I watch New Girl a lot.
New Girl.
New Girl, yeah.
I like that show. There we
Yeah.
go. We talk about Ted Lasso. What else you got? I love good shows. Peaky Blinders. You ever watch that?
No.
It's a dude show for sure. It's not funny. It's very violent, but I loved that show for some reason.
What's it on?
It's like a old English or British gang based in the 20s. It's complete nonsense. It's a dude show.
Okay. Are you saying that I wouldn't like
No,
it?
no,
'cause
I'm
it's
not.
a
I don't
dude
mean
show?
that. I'm saying
Okay.
it's mostly idiots like myself that binge watch, and they have these weird accents that it takes you 3 episodes to understand. Man, we're going off the rails. I love when this
Weird
happens.
accents.
Like really thick accents you can't understand. I love it. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is about that show. I love it. Ted Lasso, obviously. helped
Well,
me.
yeah.
You got more on there? I like this. She
I
came
do. I
prepared.
do have one more because I think you said 5 each, so I did prepare 5. The last one I have is ChatGPT. Healthy, not healthy.
I was going to ask you artificial intelligence for the last one. These go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like all of them, man, you could answer both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say healthy now, but I'm going to say it scares I can't curse, bleep out of me.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, artificial intelligence scares me.
Mm-hmm. It is scary.
So healthy and unhealthy. You want to chime in on this, Trey?
So I think it's super healthy, and probably for someone like yourself doing development and fundraising, it probably helps you guys a lot.
How?
'Cause,
How so?
Probably like, let's say you needed some language for an email donations. That could be something where you could, if you had 2 writers on staff now, you could have 1, and that person could create the foundation. That's kind of like the language for your particular company, and maybe use it to just speed up the process. Golly, other ways, I don't know 100% off the top of my head, but I'm sure younger people could figure out unique ways to take advantage of it.
It is going to change the world. It's already starting, and it scares me. But for ChatGPT specifically, like I'll use it sometimes where my mind's just not working. I'll say, write me a 5-sentence blog on ninja kicks. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something random. And it will kick something out that would have taken me 3 hours to come up with and write stuff. But
I mean, the
I'm
only
not
thing
doing
I would say is I don't think that, like someone that does video like myself, the creative side, I don't think a computer can be as creative as like the human individual. And then from the side of like what you're doing with leadership, I don't think that could ever be taught via computers
Gracie.
and stuff.
It'll never happen. You cannot replicate. Well, that's scientific fact, obviously. You can't replace humans, but it can definitely alleviate time and hours. I think. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole. That's the number one request. Anyone who asks, like, who should we get on? It's someone who can talk about artificial intelligence. And I can't.
Oh, I think I have a guy for you if you don't.
Put us in touch.
Okay.
We'll catch up on that afterwards. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he has a healthcare company. Duh.
Sign it.
Boom,
What's
boom.
Wait, that was the longest healthy or not healthy ever, but I like
that clip I'm going to have to cut. It's going to be like 5 minutes, but
you don't have to cut it either,
I'm
but I
just
like
kidding.
Yeah,
that's
we
good
can
dialogue.
cut out
Okay.
some of the.
We talked about this earlier, like healthy advice you'd give yourself. I want to talk about therapy. I talk about it often. You brought that up. Like, who would you give a shout out that really impacted your life the most? Whether it's a long time ago or recently, and you said,
My therapist.
Ooh.
I love it. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So I don't know what it is the age people seek therapy. I mean, obviously there's some individuals that are able to go when they're younger, have the need to go when they're younger. But I would say that I started seeing a therapist right before COVID hit. Was my first session, and then COVID hit, and she's like, I can still meet with you on Zoom. I'm like, I'm not meeting with you on Zoom after I just like laid it all out there, you know?
Like right afterwards, your first session was in person, and then it's like from here on out, you got to do it via Zoom.
Yeah. Because
Which is uncomfortable.
COVID hit, yeah.
Did you keep meeting with her via Zoom?
Of course. Well, yeah, I met with her on Zoom a couple of times, and then we ended up doing in person, but her office was large enough that people, you could be a little bit farther away from one another in a room. So, I continue to stay up with her. I mentioned to you that I was supposed to have a meeting with her this week, but she got a cold, and so we're meeting later. But it's just provided so much support and clarity to me in my life, because so much of our personal life also bleeds into and intersects with, our work life too. And so, ensuring that both of those are balanced, or at least, provide enough attention to both of those two arenas of your life, so that you're your best self to everyone that you work with and live with.
I am a huge advocate for therapy, and mental health. You said this too on the phone call. It's an impartial party, right? You can unload and say things. Trey, there's probably things you want to say to me that you don't want to say, or vice versa. Justin, my wife, but what else comes from that? Like the impartial party is great. Feedback, recommendations. What do you love about your therapist?
Yeah, I think. I think a lot of times we think about things in our head, but it's so different when you say it out loud, and then you hear yourself say it out loud. You're like, wow, I've been thinking that, but when you hear it, it feels different. But I also enjoy that, my therapist asks thought-provoking questions, and so you're able to kind of peel back some of the layers and understand the why behind some of the feelings that you have, or resentment you may feel, or anything like that. And so I feel like it's as much of like self-exploration as it is for me to be a better girlfriend, a better coworker, a better friend for people in my life.
I
love that. Look,
I love hearing you
I'm going to
talk.
go into my 5-minute pitch, by the way. You asked that earlier, and I was going to tie it all into this and then talk about two things. Trust me, but go ahead.
No, I love hearing you talk about this, because like, do you go to a therapist? Because I don't know many men. I mean, I'm 38.
Yeah.
But I feel like most men, I kind of try to avoid it like the
Why?
plague, I guess.
You don't have to
There's
answer.
definitely a
Like,
stigma.
I'm
Probably
tough, I'm a
what she
man.
said. There's like thoughts in my head. Honestly, I don't want to spill the beans to someone unless maybe they're a family. I don't know, and even
Oh
that's
my
probably
gosh,
worse.
that's like the
That's
worst
probably
thing.
I was going
worse.
to say the one person that I can say things and I'm like, I can't say this to anyone, is this lady that will just. Sometimes I'm like, look, I'm just going to ramble and dump all my BS on you, and she's like, all right, let it rip, and that helps. Unless you journal, I've got stuff that I do that's weird, but
that's great. No, journaling's not weird.
I can't recommend therapy enough to men, but I also understand that they're whatever. I don't get us, man. I don't get anybody.
I'd say
there's Justin.
I'd say it's pride because I'm the
Oh,
same way.
100%.
Where I'm like,
pride.
I gotta go, but I don't want the stigma of it. Like that's how it is all
Are
the
you,
time.
when I completely understand where you're coming from, because I agree that there's a stigma there, but I would also question, from both of your perspectives, what is the stigma? Like, you're like, oh, if I start going to therapy, then my wife or my family is going to think
Who's
what?
gonna? Yeah,
Or it's probably, is this person going to tell me what I really think in my head?
yeah. She's gonna
It's
call you
take
out on
me
it.
out. I'm
Yeah.
like, dang it.
Okay.
tell you something you know
She's
you need to
right.
do but don't want to hear.
Listen,
That's really what it boils
if
down
a
There
to.
you go.
therapist hears this, because again, I don't want to have my therapist come on, but I think it'd be great to have a therapist come on and talk about therapy, because I am a firm believer, and again, I've used the term advocate a lot in therapy, especially for men. But my journey, like, I'm in and out. I'll go consistently week after week, and then I'm like, all right, I'm good for a bit. I'll
Yeah.
see you in 3 months or 6 months or a year. And honestly, I'm in a gap right now. I need to go back when this came up.
Mm-hmm.
We talked earlier. What's your 5-minute pitch that you'd give people? Can I answer? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could give it. You
Thought
could
you were
give a
asking me
5-minute
again. I'm like,
elevator pitch.
another one?
No. I've got a couple that are my go-to, and I'm going to curse here. You're going to have to bleep these out. I'm warning you now. My brother passed away, 18 months older, best friend. All my close friends know him. Hit a really rough patch. I did.
Yeah.
And someone's like, go to therapy. And I was hesitant, and my ego, my pride, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But immediately the first one, whatever. It was great. The one that I had, she goes, I want you to talk to the person who runs this facility. And we sit down, we hit it off, we're BSing, and he was about to sell his practice, and someone asked, like, what's your main practice of therapy, right? There's there's all these Freud. I'm not a therapist. I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
And he used the term WAFU. I said, what's WAFU? WAFU. He said, we're all fucked up. and I'm like, immediately, I'm going to say it a couple times. You can mark these, or I'll say effed up if that helps. He said that, and I was kind of like, what? Someone's trying to buy his company for a lot of money, and what's
Yeah.
your primary practice? And he said, we're all fucked up. I'll say effed up from now on, I promise. And he hit that and explained it, and I was like, that hit home so hard that every single person that we sit across from and think, this guy has it together, he has it together, that's a CEO, they run a business, like, we're all left up. Every single person.
We're all human.
When you realize that, it just, and you don't have that fear of impressing others, which never ends. But I have a 5-minute pitch on WAFU. Like I've cheesy T-shirts. I give that thing over and over.
I want a T-shirt.
I have, by the way.
You owe
we'll
me
get to
2
that.
T-shirts.
I owe you a lot of stuff. We'll talk about this after the show too. But that's my talk. I have a talk track that's 5 minutes. There's a couple times, and it's just expressed that for anyone that listens, is not to drive business to 212 or the radio show. It's, look, we're all left up. And the second you realize
That's
that,
okay.
yes, and it's normal. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so WAFU, that's a term.
Love it.
So people say it,
So
and
cool.
then you'll leave here. Trust me, you'll start saying healthy or not healthy. Everybody does, but that's my 5-minute pitch. Is just trying to be a human and help people understand that.
And I think
You're not
there's
by yourself.
empathy that comes along with that too, and understanding that everyone has their own story to tell or is dealing with their own challenges. And so just approaching people with empathy or understanding, so especially in the current climate.
I feel bad. I talked more than I normally do. I want you to do the majority
you're
of the
good.
talking, but I actually want to have you come back and reverse
Anytime.
it. I like future guests to come on and reverse it. Okay. How much time we got left? 5 minutes. That's plenty. I'm the only one that asks about time because everyone pretends they're live. We're not live. We're in the studio recording this. You familiar with imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
It goes back to
isn't?
WAFU, right?
Yeah.
Do you know imposter syndrome?
Not really.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to
It's
say who
okay.
doesn't.
We're all, every human. There's two syndromes or effects that I like. The spotlight effect. If you haven't heard of that, research it. It's awesome. Like, we all think the spotlight's on us. Everyone thinks about us, when in reality,
Yeah,
you're
no one
thinking about
cares.
Gracie.
Yeah.
Trey's thinking about Trey. Justin's thinking about Justin. That's a
People
good
think
one.
about you for like a minute and then they're,
And
or
then
a second, then they're
thinking
off to
about-
something else.
So
Yeah.
the spotlight effect is
Yeah.
a great thing to research. But imposter syndrome, we all feel like imposters, right? Same. So are you familiar with it, and do you feel that as the CEO of Leadership
Yeah.
Giants? Like, you have to meet people and you're like, everyone I meet is smarter, more qualified than I am, but what are your thoughts?
I mean,
on
I don't
imposters?
think that
I
specifically,
shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say.
I am
thanks for putting
self-deprecating.
words
Not
in my
everyone.
mouth.
I think everyone's smarter and more qualified than I am.
No, I don't believe that about you.
Yeah.
But going back to imposter syndrome, Have you dealt with
Yeah,
that? That's part of therapy.
and that's not really what I focus on in therapy per se, but I absolutely have felt imposter syndrome and do at times feel imposter syndrome. And it's, an incredible opportunity for me to be in this role. Like, they took a chance on me. I'm not, this is the first time I've been in an executive director or CEO role. I am a younger individual than they've had in the role or really representing the nonprofit sector. And like, I take the responsibility of the mission of the organization very seriously. But there's a heavy, I think, I wouldn't say challenge or opportunity, but it carries a lot of weight on me to know that like I'm in charge of this. So I remember when I first became the CEO, I still am actually this way, but I think it's more just my personality. Like when people are like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I work for Leadership Jacksonville. And then my friends, if they overhear me, they're like, she runs Leadership Jacksonville. She's the CEO of Leadership Jacksonville. I'm like, I would never say that. I would never say that, but I think it does to some degree go back to imposter syndrome. But I also know like, it's not just me. It's, all the people around me that are Wafoo. Yeah.
We got a couple minutes left. Anything you want to acknowledge, Leadership Jacks, shout outs, something we missed?
Yeah, I love my team. They're awesome. So as I mentioned, I may be the CEO, but there's a lot of people that support the organization, the team itself, the staff, but then we also have an incredible amount of volunteers, hundreds of volunteers that help support each of our programs. And it's just really cool to be a part of it.
Again, Leadership Jacks, Leadership Jacksonville. I say Leadership Jacks. A lot of us say that.
That's okay.
As an outside party, right, looking in, I don't think there's a better hire in the city than you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm serious. I think that's really cool. I've never met someone that hasn't talked about you in the best light possible, and you're doing great stuff. So keep doing it.
I appreciate that.
What you got, Trey?
Did we talk about the rejection?
Oh, shoot. Okay,
We got 4
good call.
minutes.
Good call. We got time to kill. I laugh about
I'm just
this.
so glad I get to see it in person.
Please,
I
hold it
keep
up.
certain things in life. My wife hates it, right? For her Amazon boxes.
He's a hoarder is what he's really trying to say.
So every trip I go on, I grab a rock or a stick, and I write like what it's from so that when I grab that rock, I'm like, oh, I remember Hawaii or South Carolina or...
My dad has a friend that collects sand from different
That's
beaches
cool
all
too.
over
Dang
the
it,
world.
don't say
so
that.
Cool.
I'm have bags of sand.
We could little you don't have to do bags.
Moments in life.
It's cool.
Just
You're
stuff.
so sentimental.
Do
you have a memory
bad.
box?
I got a lot of memory boxes. No, I'm kidding. Don't say that. but again, like the two that come to mind, the funniest thing is my rejection letter to Florida State and my rejection letter to Leadership Jacks, and not in a
We
bad
have so
way.
much in common.
And not in a bad way. It's just like I keep this in my garage. I'll hold it up or not. But here's my rejection letter. I told Manisha this too, but I keep this because it's a reminder of I am where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Trey. Rejection's the worst.
And my rejection letter is my cameo from Biggie.
Oh,
Shout out to Biggie. Love it.
Oh yeah, Cameo. By the way, great app. You can get famous people to do cameos and send you video.
Yeah,
Dang it,
send you personalized videos. Yeah, next time.
Free plug for Cameo. Gracie Simendinger. I'll say it once, normal, and then Gracie Simendinger. I love saying that. I love when you say it too. CEO of Leadership Jacks, thank you for joining. I had a blast. Hope you did too. That's what the health just happened.